Hello, everybody. I'm not sure if we're live yet. Here we go. We are live. Good evening. Good evening. Yes, I did warn you. I did, were you ready for me? No, I bet you'd all forgotten that I'd said that we might do some off the cuff stuff today. And here we are. So before we begin, let me say, first of all, good evening to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who, as always, is standing to my right side. And good evening to Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Rosemary. Hello, everyone.
Uh, where are you calling from, Chris?
I'm in Vermont.
How's the weather, Chris?
It's actually very nice out. I think like 72. It's been a great day outside today.
I know that it's been a great sunny day in New York as well, because I've been talking to Samantha and Reese on and off throughout the day. It's, of course, it's Florida, isn't it? So it's always good. Florida's always good for good weather. And it's been nice here. A little bit overcast. Couldn't quite get my brain around that one for a second. A little bit overcast and a little bit of rain tonight, not a lot. So, Chris, the one thing that we didn't talk about today, before the show, we usually say, so what are we going to talk about? What's the subject? What's the topic? We sort of have some rough idea of how we're going to begin the show, but we actually didn't have an idea, did we? We didn't think about it, did we, actually?
You mean for this one?
Yeah.
Well, it's off the cuff, so doesn't everybody who's in the chat room determine our direction?
I think so. Do we have anybody at all in the chat room though, Chris? That's my question.
We do, and they're starting to log in.
Okay then. So, bearing in mind, if you're all starting to log in and you started to check in to see what it is that we're going to do, if you have an idea for a topic or a subject that you'd like to discuss, or you would like to just hang out with us, that's also fine. And until we have one or two more people coming in, let me tell you what I've been doing today. Shall I, Chris? Shall I tell everybody what I've been doing today?
Well, I think it's pretty exciting.
Oh, golly, are you kidding me? Well, yesterday, what I did yesterday was I was moving things. I put my back out so badly today, I can hardly walk. when I do get up on my feet, I'm hobbling about like a little old lady. I suppose that's because I am a little old lady, although I don't feel like a little old lady at all. But anyway, so so I've been moving things, not anything too heavy. I'm not that crazy to move big stuff. But I had some new windows put into the house today because, in Florida, we have to take care of, we have to think of hurricanes and storms and so on and so forth. So most of the house was done a while ago, but there are just these just few windows left to do. So we've had two guys here today. Oh my goodness, they were amazing. They were funny, they were smart, and they were thorough. And I'm pleased to say that the guy who was in charge of the project, oh, a man after my own heart, a person after my own heart. Talk about meticulous, the detail. I've watched him. I've been sitting on the sofa most of the day watching what they're up to with my eagle eye on every part of the job, which is I used to, years ago, I used to, if I was having work done, I'd think, oh, get the workmen in and then I'll just, let them do their thing, but not anymore. I learned a few years ago, if you don't watch what they're doing, they'll do things you didn't ask them to do. They'll take it into their head that you want it this way or that way. Really, very often it's the easy way, or very often it's that, excuse me, sorry. Very often it's that, they like it their way, but I like it my way. I wouldn't want to work for me. If I weren't me, I would not want to work for me. But happily today we had a guy who's so meticulous and so careful in what he did. And I was watching like a hawk, and I was telling him about it. I remember when I was in Vermont and had work done in Vermont, and boy, oh boy, I made the mistake of letting them come in when I was in California. And I came back a week later and I was absolutely horrified. They'd put new sheetrock in my bedroom on the wall, and for some weird and unaccountable reason, and I'd drawn them plans. I was meticulous about drawing plans. Was careful about where I wanted to put all of the electric plugs and all that stuff around. So they had pictures to go by. I drew pictures for them to go by. And I walked into my beautiful bedroom. It was a nice big bedroom and a big wall all the way along one side there. And I couldn't believe it. Brand new sheetrock, and up in the ceiling, right in the middle of the wall, about 2 inches from the ceiling, was an electric outlet. I didn't get it. And I said, I don't know what that's doing there. Oh, well, we can patch it. They said, well, patch it doesn't. No, you're not going to patch it at all. You're going to take it all down and redo it. And furthermore, I'm not going to pay for you to redo it for me because that's your mistake. And by the end of this, they were doing a lot of work. And by the end of it all, they had nicknamed me Eagle Eye, because every time I came anywhere near them, they'd say to each other, oh, here she comes. Because I am so careful about my home. And I advise everybody to do the same thing. Don't let workmen into your home and let them do what they want to do. You make sure they do what you want them to do. Oh, I've had enough of this conversation. It's so boring. Chris, let's change the subject, but my windows are in and I'm very happy with them. Moving on to something far more interesting.
Well, I think when you're able to see outside and you've got it nice, bright, and sunny, you're going to be really happy with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have a number of people on. I think some of them hopped on after you said what our goal is for today, which is they determine the subject of which way we head.
We don't have a subject. Pick one. You guys, come on, work for this. Choose a topic. Pick a subject. We may completely ignore you. We may say, oh, that's a good topic, but no, I don't want to talk about that. Just like I said, okay, I'm done talking about my windows. I don't want to talk about those anymore. We may say that, but on the other hand, you may pick something that we're so fascinated and interested about. We might sort of have a conversation about it. So go for it. Chris.
So Caliphonic says, what about soulmates as a topic?
Oh, yes. What about them?
We don't have that answer yet.
Are there such things as soulmates? All right, we can thank you, my darling, for that suggestion. Well, you brought this up now, remember? So I'm going to talk about my book, Soul Signs. And every time I talk about that book these days, it makes me smile, because we were on one of our shows talking about soul signs, and a lovely lady wrote in and she said, it sounds like a fascinating book. Who's the author? And I was, that's me, I'm the author. Soul Signs, yes. And Soul Signs is one of the most fascinating books, and really guided by Grey Eagle, explained to me by Grey Eagle how souls are created and the different types of energy that can be used in the creation of the soul, which is in itself fascinating. And when you read through this book, aside from learning all about your own soul sign, all about the kind of energy that you might be, the kind of energy that you might be compatible with, imagine that if people use soul signs and they really focused on the soul sign that they were the most compatible with and worked through that, there would be so much less divorce, so much less in breakups, all of that stuff. But anyway, let's get back to, is there such a thing as a soul mate? Well, there are. If you read soul signs, there are soul mates, workmates, and playmates. Let me see if I can define the differences for you. So the answer is there such a thing as a soulmate? Yes. And a soulmate can be that person who A lot of people think that a soulmate is somebody who you meet and then you're with for the rest of your life here on this earth. No, a soulmate is that person who is particularly connected to you. It might be someone you have decided even prior to you coming here to this earth, that you've decided that, you know, when you're here, you'll connect you because there is a connection between you. So our soulmate, we can have one, two, or maybe even three or four. But a soulmate is that person we have that very, very special connection with, you know, the same type of energy, the same type of understanding. You know how if you're really, really lucky, and I've been lucky maybe twice, but if you're really, really lucky, uh, you get to meet that person, that's your soulmate. It's almost an instant recognition. You don't even know what is pulling you towards that person necessarily. It's just an instant recognition and a feeling that of, you know, oof, you know, you just know that you've connected on a spiritual level with that person. So that's your soulmate. Playmates, there are certain people that we are meant to meet, certain souls that we are meant to meet, meant to connect with. Who are those people who we just connect so strongly with, to have fun, and not just to have fun, but to do things with or to have the same interest in. Not necessarily the pounding romantic uh, love, kind of love, but a special kind of bond and a special kind of understanding of each other. They are our playmates. And then, of course, we have our workmates. I would say that Chris and I are workmates because we both have the same desires as far as working together on a spiritual level. We both have the same, you know, aspirations, if you like. We rarely disagree on, you know, the kinds of things that we want to work on or work towards. The only time we disagree is if she overworks me, and which she does all the time, by the way. I've only got to say one little thing. I'll maybe be having a conversation with Chris, just an ordinary conversation. It could be about anything at all. And I might say something like, oh, you know, that might be an ideal topic for whatever it is. Maybe it's an ideal topic for a class or a lesson or a webinar or just something or another. And I've only got to just briefly say this thought flitting through my head. Oh, that might be, and that's all I have to say, because the next thing she's researched, I mean the next thing within an hour or two, she's done all the research and she's got everything together, and she's sort of puts it in front of me and says, "And what do you think to this?" And then she makes me work. Then she cracks the whip, makes me work. So a workmate is somebody who if you're in a job, there are certain people who you work with who make life so much easier because they're on the same page as you. Let's say they are your workmates. So we have soulmates, playmates, and workmates. See, learning something new already, aren't you, tonight in our off the cuff stuff? So let's see what we've got. Any comments, any questions, any suggestions? What have we got, Chris?
Well, I'm trying to find who said it, but Maggie says, what about a life mate?
Well, a lot of people consider that a soulmate is a life mate, and depends. Maggie, you know I love you. I really do love you. But I'm going to point out that, I mean, life it's a long time, isn't it? What are you talking about? Life on this earth, or life continuing on after this earth, or life before this earth? What are you talking about? So we have different people coming into our lives. And so I'll say again, soulmates, workmates, and playmates. But I do like the question, Maggie, but life is, you know, that's something that we live forever and ever and ever. And I can't answer whether your soulmate will stay around for more than 100 years or 200. Who knows how long our life will span. Not just life on this earth, you see. got to be careful how you ask the question and be more specific. Chris, you didn't
Chris,
expect that, did you, Chris?
no, I didn't. Does that mean I'm supposed to cut back just a little bit?
Just saying.
Chris says, this is the book that I'm cracking open during my break from cooking for 35 kids and 14 staff daily.
We know this lady.
Yeah, she says, handing in my notice on Monday. Dad's with me per our conversation on May 8th.
Oh, golly. Oh, what a brave girl you are. What's the cookbook you're reading? What is the book that you're cracking open, by the way?
I think she means soul signs.
Oh, that's going to so help you. Cracking it open. Oh, gosh. Remember, all of you out there who are reading soul signs, please remember the golden rule. First, find your soul group. Had to think. First, find your soul group. Are you a fire sign, an air sign, a water sign, or an earth sign? And yes, I know it sounds like astrology, but it isn't. It's got nothing to do with astrology except that everything is all intertwined, isn't it? But when we're talking about groups, we're talking about the energy of this earth, which is why, you know, as in astrology, as in all of these different aspects that we deal with in our, let's say, in our psychic world, all come down to energy. And we all know now that there are certain types of energy. So when you are reading soul signs, please, 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 it tells you very clearly in the book, on at least 2 or 3 occasions, I know because I wrote it, remember the golden key. And now, the thing is, if you read all the way through and you think, oh, well, am I a traveler soul, or am I an old soul? Am I a warrior soul, or what am I? If you go that route, because there is a list in the book of all of the different soul signs, if you go that route, we are, all of us, in so many different ways, so alike. So if you go that route, you'll have, we're going to stick to the basic premise of the book. You'll have 12 soul signs to choose from. And believe you me, if you go that route, you will confuse yourself to the point where you will not get it and you will not understand it. If you choose your soul group first, your soul group is air, fire, water, earth. Those 4. If you figure out which your soul group is, then you will only have 3 soul signs to choose from. So instead of 12 and being confused, you've got 3. Now, as you read through the book, you will dismiss outright one of those 3. You'll say, well, that's definitely not me. You'll be left with 2. You'll go back and forth. Am I this one or am I this one? There will be very similar traits because you're in the same group, so created from the same energy. So which of those 2 are you most like? And you have to decide which are you most like, and that gives you your soul sign. Right. Now, once you've got that and you're comfortable with that and you feel that that's the right thing for you, then you can read all about all the other soul signs, but read the soul groups first. And the joyful thing about this book is it's so great. I love it, right? And everybody I know who's read it and understands it loves it. What you do is this: you start to look at other people, you start to look at your kids, you start to look at your husband or your wife or your whatever, your parents, and find out their soul group first. Always obey the golden rule. Group first, soul sign second. And then when you find the soul group, for instance, I'm an earth sign. My father, definitely an earth sign, and a warrior soul, just like me. My mother, a fire sign, my least compatible type of energy. fire and earth don't work. Let me explain why. Fire scorches earth. Boy, oh boy, does it ever scorch earth. So if you're a fire sign, you're going to scorch me. You're going to, it's, I'm going to stand back and think, whoa. However, earth can put out fire like that, right? If you've got a fire going in a fire pit, and you take a spade of earth and you throw it in the fire pit, you cut off the air to the fire, kills fire immediately. So you can see why we're not at all compatible. Now, my most compatible soul partner would be probably a water sign or another earth sign. Water feeds the earth. Earth gives water a place to be. You see how that works? See, you can get it. You get it. So, golden rule: find your soul group first. Then when you start looking to everybody else who you know, find their soul group first, and then you can figure out what their soul sign is, because you'll only have 3 to choose from. See, we're already having a topic of conversation here.
Julia says, "Thank you for this explanation. I love your book Soul Sign, and I read it again and again to understand the communication between myself and the people around me.
Yeah.
I am a water type and always hunger for knowledge. Thank you for this book. I love when you explain more on these topics. Thank you. Lots of love from the Netherlands to you all."
Well, thank you. What we're hoping to do in the future is we're hoping to do some webinars with soul signs so that people can, find out how they can discover what soul sign they are, and then how they can discover which other soul sign is the most compatible to them. It's a question of, for instance, I always used to wonder when I was a kid growing up, why does my mother love my, sister more than she loves me? Why does she, why does she hate me? Well, let's face it, I'm an earth sign. I'm going to put a fire out, and she's on some subconscious level, on some spiritual level, she probably knew that. She probably knew, watch this one, because she'll definitely put my fire out. And who wants to be around someone who's going to put your fire out, right? So you can figure out why people, why your father loved your brother more than the other brother. Or it's a fascinating subject, because you can figure out, also you might love someone, you might meet someone, and you might love them to pieces, but it's not working out. And the reason it's not working out is because you're one kind of energy and they're another kind of energy. And if they're an earth energy and you're a fire energy, believe you me, you're going to clash like crazy. Oh, yes. It works, but only if you understand why there's this stuff going on. If you're an air signs are, let me tell you, they're lovely. They are just super laid back, fantastic people. And they get on really well with fire signs. Now, just think about this, you see. What feeds fire? Oh, air feeds fire. Without air, fire cannot exist, can it? What feeds fire? Air. But be careful, because if you find an air sign that is too crazy or too off the wall there, and you've got 3 to choose from, so you okay. If that air can blow this fire out of control, or it can make it just burn so brightly, so they can be so compatible. So air signs and fire signs are so compatible. Fire warms air and encourages air to flow. Air feeds fire. So you've got this going on. With water signs and earth signs, as I've just described, earth makes place for water to flow naturally, beautifully, and easily, and allows water to sort of flow whichever way it wants to go. And water feeds the earth and sort of enriches the earth. So anyway, it's all in the book. Yes, Chris.
Well, a certain air sign that loves moussaka is asking you this question. Why do we push aside important things for things that are easier? We rarely learn from easy. Sorry, I'm an air sign.
Gary, I do love you. I'm going to tell everybody the story about my friend Gary. You've asked for it, Gary. So you mentioned the moussaka. So
No. I mentioned the
oh, you
moussaka
mentioned the moussaka. Well, I'm
because
still going
because
to
I
tell the
can't
story.
I can't read Gary's name without thinking of moussaka.
So okay. So for those of you who don't know, so my lovely friend Gary, who lives in New York State, he definitely is an air sign. He's very easygoing. Oh, remember though, just be careful, you see, because you think air signs are so easygoing, but remember the tornadoes that come, an air sign can fool you into whooshing and getting you, just it, but it's sort of over and it's done with in a moment and then moving on. That's that's why air signs are so lovely. So Gary, my friend Gary, came with me. I can't remember how many years ago, but a few years ago, we went off to. I was invited to go to where was I invited to go? Come on, Gary, help me out. The Greek
Greece, wasn't
islands.
it?
Pardon?
Yeah, it was Greece, right?
We went to the Greek islands, a couple of the islands. Yes, we did actually go to mainland Greece as well. So while we were in Greece, in the Greek islands, Gary discovered moussaka, which is one of the best, the most delicious dishes. It's eggplant and garlic and lamb, and is your mouth watering, Gary, as you're listening to this? And delicious cheese and oh, ground lamb, and did I say that already? Anyway, and you sort of cook it all up together. Anyway, it was the favorite every time, every single day that we were out. Um, we were there for at least 2 weeks, if not a little bit longer. Every day we'd eat lunch out and we'd eat dinner out. We were, there was nowhere for us to cook. And at least once a day, Gary had moussaka because it's his favorite. Okay. And so I think it was our last day. We were out and about. We were doing a little bit of shopping, and we went into this little restaurant. And sure enough, moussaka was on the menu. We're both sitting there, this little tavern, and wooden chairs and a wooden table. You think, why am I mentioning the tavern? Just mentioning this little tavern area. And there he is, and he's eating away. And suddenly, there's this loud clanging noise. And Gary looked down, and I looked at Gary looking down, and his belt buckle had literally snapped right off. It literally burst open, and the buckle hit the table. We couldn't stop laughing. Too much moussaka will do that to you, Gary, as you've learned. So fast forward a little bit. Well, we did go shopping and buy him a new belt, but anyway. So fast forward, we were in Vermont and had a whole load of friends over, and they came to help do work and stuff. And anyway, so I decided, because everybody was being busy and doing stuff, and Gary was there. I think, Chris, you were there as well. So
Yeah.
I decided to not say anything but to surprise Gary, and I made this enormous, enormous pan of moussaka. And Gary's in and out of the kitchen, and oh, that smells good, and oh, what you making? And I never said a word, not one single word. And then it was in the oven, and then it was time for it to come out. And I said to Gary, we're all now getting in, we're inside, getting ready for dinner. And I said to Gary, do you think you could get that out of the oven for me, please? And he opens the oven door and he looks in the oven door and he sees all this stuff bubbling with the cheese on the top, bubbling and looking so good. And he's staring into the oven, and he then looks at me. He said, is that what I, is that what I think it is? Now this thing takes a lot of preparation, and he's in and out of the kitchen the whole time I'm preparing and doing this stuff. Is that what I think it is? Anyway, everybody ate the moussaka, but I made a huge pan of it so that Gary could take at least a third of it home with him, which is what he did. And we cut it into portions for him. And then, of course, he had it every day. I don't know whether he had to change his belt buckle or whether he just got a bigger belt. Who knows? Anyway, hi, Gary. Have you ever told that story to anybody, Gary, about how you burst your belt on moussaka? Right, keep going.
Rhonda says it sounds delicious, and I'm also an air sign.
Oh, there you are. Well, let me tell you, you and Gary would get on really, really well, except that you would never get anything done because you'd be so busy talking about what you're going to do and then say, oh, well, let's go for a nap. Let's have a little sleep then. Two air signs together, not so good, I don't think. Chris.
Calla says, I'm earth and my husband is fire.
Good luck with that. Oh boy, oh boy. Well, we do have some very good friends. I'm thinking about Jeff. We do have some very good friends. He is definitely a fire sign, and his wife, lovely, lovely, lovely wife, is an earth sign. But luckily for her husband, he's a central energy. You don't know what I'm talking about, do you? You have to get the book and read the book. Or if we do a webinar, you have to come to the webinar and learn more about it. But she's a central energy, which means that she's able to sort of flow. I'm a right energy. Chris, you're a left energy. So anyway, this lovely person I'm talking about is a central energy. But in the early days of their marriage, it was something to see. But they've learned, and now they know about soul signs. They know how to deal with things in a better way. So anyway, oh, Carla, good. You've got to rise yourself above it. Understand, he can't help it. He just can't help it. I think another thing with soul signs, I don't know about you, Chris, I'll ask your opinion, but another thing about soul signs is that you do begin to realize if their soul is created from these certain types of energy, really and truly, the people how many times do we say, well, why do they have to behave like that? Or why can't they just be this? And the thing is that once you understand about soul signs, they can't be this or behave like that because of the energy that they're created from. It drives them to acting, reacting, and behaving in the way that they do. It actually makes us more tolerant, I think, of other people, because I have my closest, one of my closest, my oldest, my best friends, definitely a fire sign. Oh boy, have I had trouble with her over the years, but it helped me once I understood she can't help it. She's a fire sign. And I hope that people say to me about me, she can't help it. She's an earth sign. It is who she is. She's an earth sign. So it makes us more tolerant. Chris, keep going.
Well, you've also mentioned over the years, Rosemary, it also has to do with maturity level of those signs, right?
Yes. And all of that is in the book. All of that is in the book. But don't you think, Chris, you know all about soul signs. Don't you find that it makes you a little bit more tolerant and a little bit more understanding of people that you would normally get frustrated with? That you can now say, well, that's who he is, and he can't change those things about him, or she can't change those things about her.
Absolutely. And I know I used it a ton in my work life, and especially, work life. If I had to work with a fire sign, I would use language, for one of the fire sign, the bright star, it's all about me, 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 me. And so in running a project, I would try to use language that made them feel like it was all about them so that we could get the thing done. So I absolutely use that.
It certainly helps, right?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Mark says, I'm so glad you, Chris, found Rosemary. and Rosemary found Chris. With all that has happened recently, your combined friendship is cherished by both of you, and know that I cherish all this that we have in our hands off the cuff.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thanks, Mark. But you might be under a misapprehension here because I don't know that. Are we friends, Chris?
I certainly hope
I
so.
could. I couldn't resist it. It's just my crooked sense of humor, everybody. Don't get worried. Don't get worked up. I didn't mean it. Keep going, Chris.
Barb says, I'm so interested as how Gray Eagle spends his time. Does he do more as in spending his time with you?
Oh, yes. Have you ever seen the movie? Look, if you want to watch a really ridiculous movie, I mean, seriously ridiculous, and if you can force yourself to watch at least halfway through, it is the best, it is the funniest movie. It has great stars in it. And I'm thinking Cher is in it, and Meryl Streep is in it, and well, I can go on and on. But the movie is called Stuck on You, and it's about co-joined twins, Matt Damon and oh god, I've forgotten his name. Anyway, such a hysterically funny movie. I was going through this the middle of the night, something like 3 or 4 in the morning or something, and I couldn't find anything on TV to watch. And this was the only sort of halfway decent movie. And I sat through it because I was bored. I couldn't sleep. And I'm sitting through it and I'm thinking, this is the most ridiculous movie I've ever watched. It is really, really so stupid that I shouldn't be watching it. And before you know it, if you stick with it, stuck on you, if you stick with it, you can't. It's one of my favorite all time movies. But I've never been able to get my daughter to watch past the first third of it or something, because she looks at me and says, you've got to be kidding me. What are you working? What are you know, why are you looking at this drivel? Which it does seem to be, but it is hysterical. And the ending of this movie, oh, Greg Kinnear. So it's Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear, and the end of this movie is phenomenally good, phenomenally good. Anyway, but it's, why am I telling you this? Why am I saying this? Stuck on you? Oh yes, that's right, because Gregel and I are stuck together, not really quite co-joined twins, but we are sort of stuck together and work together. And I think he's got the rotten end of the stick, and I've got the good end of the stick. I think I might change my mind tomorrow, but I think that's how we are at the moment. Chris.
Anita says, I was wondering if I could maybe get a little bit of clarity. There's this sound that has followed me for a long time that makes noises at night. It feels safe though. Much love.
It could well be, who? What's the name of this lady? Anita,
And
did you?
Enita, Anita.
Okay, all right. It could well be that you have an acute sense of hearing, acute sense of knowing. You know, with my students, everybody talks about the sixth sense. Okay, so here's another bit of information for you guys out there. We're all looking for the sixth sense, and how do we find our sixth sense, and what is it anyway, and do we have it? And here's the thing: we have 5 common senses. Most of us have 5 common senses, and those of us who are born either without sight or without hearing or whatever, their other senses will become more acute and make up for that. But when with my students, I teach them how to make those 5 senses um, more acute, become more acutely aware of your senses, your 5 common senses, and raise your level of consciousness to a point where your 5 common senses are so in tune, so tuned in to your spirit, to your soul, to whatever that spiritualness is about you. And as we do that, And as we make these five common senses more acute and more aware, this is when combined all of those senses kick in. They join forces, if you like, to become that one sixth sense. So our sixth sense is our five senses combined. But it could well be that your hearing, you have an acute sense of hearing. That means, I'm not saying, what am I saying? What I'm saying is that you might well be more acutely aware beyond your ordinary hearing, or beyond this world of ours, hearing beyond this world of ours. And it could be that. And it could be that, sometimes that hearing becomes more acute than at other times. It could be that when you're you're slowing down your brain, you're slowing down your mental, all that stuff that goes on in your head. It could be that as you slow down mentally, that you become more aware on a spiritual level, and perhaps this is what your hearing is all about. So, and I think it's perfectly fine as long as you feel that it's safe. I don't, talking to you, don't feel that it's not safe. But you might want to sort of take it to that next little level and see if you can understand what that sound means. It could be a voice that you hear. It could be just music that you hear. It could just be, you know, I remember one night, going back a few years now, I remember one night putting my head on the pillow, and almost instantly I heard this sound, this incredible, beautiful sound. And as I listened more intently, in other words, that I made my hearing more acute and became more acutely aware of what I was hearing, I literally heard the sound of angels singing. So if you can sort of stretch that part of you to listen more intently, you might hear a little bit more than you're hearing now. Chris.
Mark's saying, please send me some energy of love, doing what I can to heal from the hospital, and I'm now facing skin cancer surgery this Monday. I'm
Oh,
asking Great Eagle for words of enlightenment. I am rising above all this, even though the clouds of change are kicking my butt. Lots of
well,
love. All I can do is laugh.
we're going to be sending you healing, Mark, as you absolutely know, we will be sending you healing. Uh, if you could email and let us know the time and the date of your surgery, we will sort of put a little bit more energy and effort into that part of that time. I'm sure that Greg will got it in hand, absolutely, and I'm told he tells me to tell you your angels are with you, and we will be with you. So hold fast to your faith, Mark.
Rhonda says, being an air sign and married to a fire sign has been a wild ride.
I
Being
bet.
married 42 years, lots of fun too, makes me more tolerant now that I've read soul signs.
Well, those fire signs can be something. Because I'm speaking now as an earth sign, and they are my least compatible sign, at least compatible energy. That doesn't mean I don't get on with them. I do. I love them to pieces, except sometimes. But anyway, um, but air and fire, yes, I bet it has been a wild ride. Those fire signs can really take you on a journey, can't they? They can really, really do a number on you. But how much fun, and how much fun you're both having. And I love to hear those stories, and it totally works out. Probably when you read soul signs, you were so surprised. Oh, look at that. I am the most compatible energy to my husband. Wow. You already knew it, but then having it confirmed is fantastic, right? Chris.
Carolyn says, my daughter is a warrior and we've been discussing soul signs for many weeks. She's wondering if she's naturally drawn to water signs.
Yes, well, we are naturally drawn to that energy. Air signs are naturally drawn to fire signs, and earth signs are naturally drawn to water signs, and vice versa. Um, but sometimes we're drawn and we don't like it. We don't want to be drawn to that person because we really don't perhaps want to have that connection. So sometimes we can fight it, but yes, I think earth signs and water signs. I think earth signs and earth signs are naturally drawn to each other, and I also think that the same, the same with any of the types of energy. I think fire is naturally drawn to fire, although watch out, because if you're a fire sign married to a fire sign, you could end up burning the house down. Let me tell you that those fires can get a bit out of hand there. If you are an earth sign and you're married to an earth sign, well, you know, again, it comes down to maturity. There is a great deal of difference between being bossy and being assertive. An immature earth sign will definitely be that bossy person. A more mature earth sign will be that assertive person, which is very different than being bossy. I like to say that I'm assertive, which I am, but I'm not going to boss people about all over the place because it's too much waste of energy for me. But yes, I think we are naturally drawn to those energies that we are most compatible with. Yes.
Samantha says, I'm an air sign too. Why do I never feel settled? I would love to find a life partner or friend.
Well, air signs can be that, because just think about the wind, okay? You're an air sign. You're floating. You're sort of off you go here and there. Very often, you move this way and then you can move that way. The same as water signs float. Uh, Water signs float, air signs flow. And sometimes, once you realize as an air sign that this is what you're tending to do, you can do something about it. You can, once you grasp what is happening and once you grasp what you're allowing to happen, because we all are responsible for our own selves at the end of the day. You can't help being that air sign, and you can't help being drawn to going where the airflow goes, where the wind takes you, so to speak. But if you found a partner who was, let's say, more grounded, um, then then they could ground you. But you can ground yourself once you realize what's happening. You say, "Oh, this is why I'm always doing this, so I'm going to not do that anymore." And again, if you read soul signs, it does give you uh, um, information, and it does give you suggestions as to how you can make more of yourself, whichever soul sign you are. It gives you ideas of how you can become more of who you are, or how you can become more of who you are by honing or controlling, or determining where it is that you want to be. And air signs do need to have a handle on what it is that they want to do and where they need to be. And you've said you'd love to find a partner, but what are you doing about it? Because I feel that you're not doing very much about it. So so you need to do more about it. Nobody is going to, just let me tell all of you out there who are looking for your partner, nobody's going to come knocking on your door and say, "Here I am." You have to go out safely. Make sure that you go to places that are safe. Make sure you go with friends. Make sure that you don't, have someone to your house for the first time and it's a stranger and you don't know, who they are. Be safe about these things. Be sensible about these things. Always tell a friend that where you're going, if you're meeting somebody new, or practically a stranger, because people are doing that more and more online now. So tell a friend where you are. And I mean, a safe word is also good. So if you're with somebody and you don't like them, or you just feel that you want to get out of it, oh, sorry, but my babysitter has to go home. Always have a friend who texts you at a certain time of the night. You can look at the text. If you're having a good time, you just sort of ignore the text, or you can say, "Oh, my friend, she's the babysitter," or whatever it is. If you don't want to be there anymore, so I'm awfully sorry, but I have to go, and then get up and go. Always make sure that you are safe when you're going out and about, but you're not going to find anybody while you're sitting at home watching television or reading, are you? It's not going to happen. You've got to put yourself out there a little bit in a safe way. Chris.
There's just one last comment. It's from Chris saying, again, I can't wait to crack it open.
Well, Chris, we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear what you think of it. And oh gosh, I wonder what soul sign you are. Gregor could tell me. He could tell you, but we're not going to. I never tell anybody.
Big tease.
I know, but you know, people say, "Can't you just tell me?" I'm not a reader. They say I'm not a reader. I don't want to read about it. Well, this is not just about reading. This is about discovering, and the book is all about discovering. It's discovering about your own self. It's discovering about the people around you. It's discovering about your family, and it's learning to become more tolerant and more understanding of what life means to us. Anything else going on, Chris? There.
Samantha answered you and said, thank you, Rosemary. I am a scaredy cat meeting strangers.
Yes. Look, oh, darling, we're all scaredy cats meeting strangers. Yes, I know I'm sitting here. You all think, oh, look, she's so confident. She's so out there. But even now, even at my ripe old age of 22, even now, I'm still nervous. I'd rather go out with someone, with a friend, than go by myself to meet new people, or to put myself in a different environment and a new environment. Um, and nobody said it's easy, really, darling. Nobody says it's easy, but if you if you want to change your life, you've got to find a different way of living it. And if you have a friend you can go out and about with, or if you go online, because lots of people do, and there've been some wonderful relationships built with meeting people online. Always make sure, again, as I've said, that people who know where you are. They're able to check in on you. They have you tell them, if you're going to meet someone at a pub or a restaurant, you tell them exactly where you're going, and you tell them, and you have people check in on you, or you check in on somebody. My neighbor did a very foolish thing a while ago, in my opinion. Very, very foolish thing. She met some guy online and she invited him over. And I looked at her and I said, but you don't know him. And so after I talked to her, she said, it was too late to tell him not to come because he was already on his way. So I said, okay, well, here's what we do. I'll call you, and you pick up the phone like you don't know who it is, and I'll tell you it's me. And if you say the word red, I'm there. I'm right coming banging on your door, and I'll help you out. But if you say, so, oh, thanks, I got the green sweater. That's so nice of you to blah blah. I'll know everything's fine. So you've got to do these things, because unfortunately in this world of ours, you've got to protect yourself. You've got to keep yourself safe. Chris.
Lupita says, I love your books. It's hard for us to get them every day, but keep writing greetings to Gray Eagle and Blessing.
Oh, thank you so very much. That's so nice of you. Anything else, Chris?
A lot of thank yous, and Starshine says, thank you for healing for my friend Justin. And then Calla says, Rosemary, do you see us, my husband, my baby, and me, having a better future together?
You need to read soul signs, my lovely. You need to find a way to, I think you're a bottom brick candidate. That's what I think. What do you think, Chris?
I think we can all be a bottom brick candidate, quite honestly. Yeah.
Well, we are looking for bottom brick candidates. If you want to know what it is I'm talking about, you don't know what a bottom bricker is, then just check out more of this stuff. Check out YouTube, check out Facebook, check out wherever it is we are, and you can write in there in the search Rosemary Altea bottom brick or whatever, and you'll see. During the month of May, we had 4 or 5 fabulous volunteers to do the bottom brick exercise. And what it does, the bottom bricker, is it sorts out who you are and how you are and why you are. and it really is helpful because it helps you to understand why you behave towards other people the way that you do, why you treat yourself the way that you do. It's a, you know, it's a, so we're looking for more bottom brick candidates. So if you want to be a bottom brick candidate, if you want to be a bottom bricker and join the club of the bottom brickers, you email us, Chris, K-R-I-S, Chris, K-R-I-S at rosemaryaltea.com, or you can email Rosemary Altea, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, let me get that right, or you can go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com, and you'll find a place there where you can join in, you can see what's going on, but if, you know, we're going to be doing the bottom brick exercise, certainly not every week, but, you know, maybe once a month. We've had a little setback in the last couple of weeks, but you know, we're going to keep going and we're going to keep ploughing through. I'm grateful to say that Chris is wanting to do that. So we're going to be doing more bottom brick, exercises. Remember also we have a webinar hopefully on the 26th of June. And I'm saying hopefully because there is a slight chance, minimal chance, but a slight chance that Chris will be doing something for her husband on that day, but we're going to check that out and let you know. But anyway, for now, the 26th of June is our talking to dead people who we don't believe are dead at all, do we? I think this brings us back to life. Which life are we talking about? Oh yes, life that continues on and on and on. So Greg and I will be connecting with with your loved ones in the spirit world when we do our webinar on the 26th. If you want to know more about that, please go to our website, rosemaryaltea.com, or one word, and you'll see it all there, and all the information will be there for you. How are we doing, Chris?
Rosemary, Nella is asking, she says, I'm trying to get in touch with you about my son. He died a month ago. And I do believe Nella has written to us in the email, which really would require a consultation, wouldn't it?
Yes. Yes. You know, please forgive us for those of you who, sorry, who have emailed us and you haven't heard anything back yet. As most of you know, Chris has been going through some stuff and doing beautifully, but nevertheless, we've had little holdups in the office. I know that she's answering some of the emails. She's maybe not caught up yet to all of the emails because we do get a lot. But if you email us, Rosemary at rosemaryaltea.com, or preferably, because Chris is the one who answers the emails, Chris, K-R-I-S, Chris at rosemaryaltea.com. And now if you can email us, if you haven't already, just email us and tell us, you know, what's going on or what you'd like. If you'd like a consultation, Chris will send you all of those details. The same applies to everybody out there. And certainly we can be of help in that regard. For now, my darling, I can tell you, because I'm actually, you're not asking, which is lovely. Grey Eagle, I'm asking Grey Eagle, is there anything that we can say to you right now that would be helpful to you? And so for now, I can tell you that he is safe. I don't know how much comfort that will bring you, but Grey Eagle is telling me to tell you that. If he says it, then it's true. Listen to him because he's good at this. But I can tell you that your boy is safe, and that you know, if you have emailed us already and you've told us already, please give Chris, you know, a little bit of time because she's playing catch up. For those of you who don't know, Chris lost her husband last Saturday. It'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. Gosh, Chris, hasn't that gone fast?
Yeah.
And is dealing with her own pain if you would like to hear from Chris about that, we did do a show, I think it was not this last Thursday, but the Thursday before. And if you'd like to listen to Chris talking about losing her husband, Mike, who is, he's here, right, Chris, again. He just keeps interfering in this way. He just keeps popping in there. If you'd like to listen to Chris, you will find that conversation that Chris and I had. You'll find that conversation so inspiring because Chris, going through her own difficulties, her own pain, decided that she wanted to share it with you. And that was such a brave and a wonderful thing that she did. So go back on the webinars that we do, go back on the shows that we do, go back, I think it was not last Thursday, the Thursday before, where Chris is talking to us all about what happened and how she's dealing with it. It's an amazing interview. I don't know, did I interview you, Chris? I don't even know anymore, but it's
a
amazing.
Conversation.
It's amazing conversation and you will be inspired by it. But please, everybody out there, give us a little bit of time to get back to normal with all of this, because life does not stop. Whether you are in the spirit world or whether you are here on this earth, life does not stop. It continues on, and our role, Chris and I, our role is to continue with what we're doing and to do more and more and more of it. So please, everybody out there, just bear with us. Chris, is there anything you'd like to say to finish off before I finish off?
No. I mean, thanks everybody for being here, for all your well wishes. And I see a lot of comments coming in about that. So thank you.
We do read all of the comments and all the questions, even those that we don't have time to read. Chris goes through them all afterwards. And if I can say thank you to all of you out there who have sent Chris such lovely wishes, such lovely thoughts. We do thank all of you for that. We really appreciate that. So I shall be here now. Tomorrow, my window man has to come back. He's coming back at 8 o'clock in the morning. He wanted to come back at 5 o'clock, but I drew the line. I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Was he joking or was he serious? I don't know. But anyway, he's coming back at 8 o'clock tomorrow to finish off a little bit of work on the windows. If we are a little bit late, if we don't manage to get there until 12 o'clock instead of 11 o'clock, we are going to be doing story time, I promise you. But at the moment, it is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's New York time. For those of you who really don't want to work out your own time zone, then don't join us because we can't work it out for you. So we are Eastern Standard Time, New York time, 11 a.m. Saturday morning. And we should be here with story time. You might see a little bit of a blurb which says we can't make it till 12, depends how long the guy is here for, but we shall be doing story time tomorrow. In the meantime, everybody, please, all of you, thank you so much for joining us. Chris, thank you for your input and for joining us, and I'd like to say thank you to Great Eagle. Never forget to say thank you to Great Eagle, and I'd like to thank all of you once again for joining us. And please, everybody out there, please have a very, very blessed rest of the day. Bye bye, everybody.